Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Radio LUMS. This show is Providence and I am your host, Mustafa Khan. In our first episode, we discussed why it's important to talk about the future. What are the things we need to look at when talking about the future, and so on. So today, to start off part 2 of our show, we'll be taking an exciting look at humanity and space. The question we aim to ask today is, does our future lie in the stars? What hopes do we have of establishing colonies and bases on other planets? And what are just some of the obstacles we'll face? And if we can't take everyone, what of those who will be left behind? Now, this show won't be very heavily based on facts and figures, but mainly more about the discussion of our future. It's no secret that we have lost hundreds of thousands of species, both animal and plant life, in just the past few centuries due to the consequences of the Industrial Revolution and unchecked human population growth since then. We're already facing the issues of climate change and global warming, with droughts, famines, and natural disasters prominently felt, increasing global temperatures all over the world. Despite many attempts by governments and people to put checks on overpollution and activities that exacerbate global warming, very little has been done. It's estimated that the world could run out of fresh water in just 2 or 3 decades, and Pakistan as a country is extremely high on the list of countries that would face the worst of water scarcity. Most of the worst impacts of climate change could be irreversible in just a decade. So, do we really see ourselves as a species, as the human race, surviving on planet Earth? Could it be that through our own actions we have made this planet unlivable for our future generations? That is quite possible, and that's exactly why so many people are now looking towards the stars, towards other planets and systems for the survival of the human race. Elon Musk is just one of these people who's established the company SpaceX with the aim of space exploration. Other governmental agencies like NASA are also working on space exploration, perhaps for the aim of colonizing planets for the human race. The planet of Mars is one that is said to be the most easily reachable and feasible. But is space colonization actually feasible? While Mars seems to be the closest to Earth and is also similar in many ways, with the same kind of geological features, comparable distance from the Sun, and a lot of raw materials, including the recent finds of remains of water on the planet, could we actually reach Mars? It's not too difficult to create solutions for that, though they of course will be costly and will take time. Perhaps the biggest issue is how will we get everything and everyone there? Lots of people are already working on these questions, but it's still time before humanity can actually attempt to even move a few people there rather than the entire species. We were discussing about the feasibility of space colonization and why we even consider it in the first place. But now let's go to some of the harder questions. What are the obstacles to space colonization? Well, in the first place, it's ridiculously expensive. Secondly, how would we transport everything or everyone off of Earth and onto the place that we're colonizing? And is our current rate of technological progress to design all the different technologies, all the different machinery, all the different spaceships that we need to get there, is that fast enough to outpace climate change? Can we even run from how fast the Earth is becoming uninhabitable? Let's say we can, but no one is expecting to transport all 8 billion people to another planet. So, question is, who gets to go, who stays, and who decides this? One possibility is that the rich and powerful, those able to afford the space travel, they'll go. But that will be a very few, that will be just a handful of people. And who decides which rich and powerful, or who decides how many of them get to go? If it's simply based on money, then that's extremely unfair to the people left behind. And if those people go, if a small handful of people go, how will those people survive when we know the amount of work and effort it takes to sustain the human race, with need for agriculture, livestock rearing, and a myriad of other work that goes into keeping the human race alive? And the people who stay back, what position will they be in compared to the people who've left? Would they perhaps be in a position of power over those on Mars due to dependency? Even if we are able to establish a colony on Mars, it's very difficult that it will be self-sustaining by the time it's established, and will probably rely on resources and supplies from Earth to keep going. So would those on Earth be in a position of power over Mars? Or would they be worse off? Would the people on Mars be, once the colony is self-sustaining, would they be better off than the people on Earth because they have a better quality of life? They don't have pollution there if they're able to adapt the atmosphere within the living spaces to that of Earth. These questions are all hypothetical, but it's important to think about these because maybe even in our lifetimes, we will be forced to make these choices. We'll be forced to face the fact that we might have to stay behind while others go to Mars or anywhere else in the galaxy. Or we might be the ones choosing to leave Earth. While this seems difficult in our lifetime, it's still possible. Another question is that even if it's possible and feasible to leave Earth and go establish colonies elsewhere in the galaxy, should we do it? The amount of money that is to be spent on all these projects is in trillions of dollars. Money that people say could perhaps be better spent on fixing the Earth. Money that could be better spent on developing greener technologies to reduce our environmental impacts. Money that can be better spent on perhaps mitigating and fixing the damage we've already done. This isn't impossible. Scientists for many years have been asking the governments of the world to help fund projects that have already been shown to help reduce the impacts of climate change, help lessen the impacts of climate change. But governments and people, for reasons best known to themselves, refuse to do that. And who's to say that the mistakes we've made on Earth will not be made on another colony? Who's to say that those mistakes won't absolutely ruin those colonies too? Is it a question of morality? Is it wise to have these questions when we're leaving the Earth, just in case we don't have anywhere left to go after that? Would we just be hopping from one planet to the other, ruining the galaxy in an attempt to survive? So in conclusion, while space colonization is still several decades away and still remains a question very much limited to the drawing table, it is something that is probable in our future. What's important for us looking at the future is to decide what part do we play in it. What choices, what decisions do we see ourselves being forced to make? Being forced to stay here or choosing to leave the Earth? Are questions of morality important? Whether we should make the same mistakes we made on Earth on other planets, or do we need to put in measures to ensure that doesn't happen? Should we even do it in the first place? Given how the Earth is the only home we've ever known and we haven't found signs of life anywhere else in our exploration of the universe. Therefore, it's extremely important for the human race to organize our priorities accordingly. As individuals, we must be ready to make difficult choices and to think really hard about what the future holds for us when it comes to humanity and space. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into Radio LUMS. Once again, this was Mustafa Khan with Providence.